Good morning, my friends. Wiggle here. So I have a battery that lasts like 2 minutes and dies on me, so sorry about yesterday. So I was talking about Captain Skippy. Now, he's a really good guy. He just gets here at 9 o'clock in the morning to deliver my mail, and it means my stuff that needs to go out has to go a whole nother business day if we don't drive. I mean, the other carriers get here at like 11. No problem. But it's like, why you got to be 2 hours there earlier than everybody else? He's like super fast, always working, just highly efficient, great at his job, super diligent. It's all good, except in my case, it's not. So I know it's a little self-centered, but he's a great guy. I just wish he'd just take a deep breath and maybe relax and deliver the mail just a little slower. So anyway, enough of that, Jane. We added this manure and hay mix yesterday, and then we put mostly finished compost in there. So the plan for this is when I cut my tomato suckers off, I'm going to just put them right in that dirt. It's going to be like my tomato sucker nursery. My water is right there, so I will be sure to keep it moist. I am not good at watering things at all. I don't really believe in it. I water like the first time, maybe a second time if they're looking rough, but I want things that'll make it without my help. But we are in the middle of a drought, so I may have to address that, and I have some ideas, but I'll share that later. But more of some off-grid, more permanent type solutions. So I don't know where we were on this arch, I forget. But anyway, here's my arch. It's 8 feet wide. 1/3 cattle panels. I cut them. This one was cut differently, but basically I would leave 3 or 4 sections. I cut it into 3 lengths, long ways, and that gives me my cord or my arch, however you want to say it. And then I'm wiring it to the post here, and then I'm using this little upright. I'm cutting a little notch in them, a little V notch. And that kind of gives me that stability to hold that shape. See how those are out of shape down there? I'm using these little uprights to hold it in shape. There's my first attempt, and I just used wires. And I figured, well, do a little more precise cutting, put some V's in it, and it ought to just stay in place. And you can see I'm pushing on it. It holds pretty well, so you don't really need a whole ton of stability. You just need it to hold the vines up, and being a little flexible is good. The wind won't, rip it down. It'll just kind of shake around, and it's just as strong as those T-posts are. I could put a guy wire out from the T-post back into the ground, but I'm not that worried about it at this point. And as this is kind of my miniature silvopasture here on this side of the fence, I'll use electric wire along the fence to keep the cows from eating the tomatoes, which they'll nibble at them. They won't eat many, but I don't want them damaging them. And I'm going to try to run the tomatoes up the inside, so any potential grazing would be diminished because it's on the inside of the fence. But when it gets up higher, then I have to go on the outside over the top of the arches. So there's a lot of videos on suckers and how to train your tomatoes and stuff. So I'm not going to get into all that, but I will show you. I love this stuff here. It's grape. It's for grapes. It's for the grape industry. But I use it for other things. I'm sure other people do. But it's a rubber string, and sorry about this shaking here. It's a rubber string, and it's flexible. So you can put it around plants, and as they swell or grow, it doesn't choke them, doesn't cut them off, doesn't create that issue. It's just, however, it is strong enough, and it does hold up to UV for a while. So it's pretty strong. So it's definitely going to hold the tomatoes. And you get a whole roll for 15 bucks or whatever it is, and you can tie it. And you can actually, don't even need scissors. I can't do this here. Anyway, you can just pull them apart. You can just pull real hard and it'll snap. You can tie, but it takes, you got to pull on it. So I'll just give you a quick before on the tomatoes here. I did get all my squash put in. You can definitely see that sucker. I mean, you gotta pick one or the other at this point. I'd probably take this as a sucker here. See that? And then I'll stick it in that dirt over there and keep it wet, and hopefully it'll root. You could just stick it right in your ground if you have nice moist ground, but we don't really have that moist. So I don't even know what I was going to tell you yesterday. But, forget. Well, I was going to show you this cabbage. When I was thinning my cabbage, because I kind of just gorilla seed. Now we're in the middle of a drought here. So I just got my kind of sharp little dog still out here. Here's my rat, Doobie. Come here, Doobie. He's out hunting baby rabbits and rats. Good boy, Doobie. Good boy. Go get him. Let's get him, boy. Yeah, that's it. Go on. Go get him. Good boy. That's my little dude. Hey, good boy. He's not very successful, but he sure chases them around a lot. He's gotten them. In this tall stuff, he just can't see, so they get away. Anyway, this cabbage, I buried it, 6 or 8 inches deep with just a regular garden trowel. Didn't water it. Have not watered it since. We barely had any rain, and that stuff is still surviving. I'm truly amazed by the resiliency of that cabbage. It's just unbelievable. Anyway, I'm going to get all this tied up today. You can see this is kind of an extra weedy area here, but it was, when we reclaimed it, it was practically lawn. But you can see my basil coming in. I gorilla seeded my basil as well, but I'll thin it and use it. Thin it and use it, or transplant it. I know it's, put it out and it just comes up where it's happy. And then I'd rather have basil than grass. Oh, let me show you this. I got this shade cloth, 50 or 60% shade cloth. What I'm going to do is attach it to my 2 ridges here. And I used outdoor rated zip ties on that side, and this one, when we pull it over, and I'll just zip tie it to these arches. Now, I'm only shading the middle, so this outside is peppers and beans. To my right is the east, so I'm hoping this stuff will grow up over the shade cloth or grow out to get sun. And I'm going to put a row of summer lettuce down this one and in this one. And I'm just going to leave the row. I'm not going to put anything in the row. So not complete coverage. A little morning sun will get in there and a little evening sun will get in there. Because to the left, about like this. These are oriented. Well, it's not truly. It's southwest north. It's not exactly straight orientation. But anyway. Fine. When this stuff grows up on the right, it's going to grow up and shade the inside. So I'm hoping to use the plants to shade the lettuce as it gets older on both sides of this. The other side, that's all spinach, and that's going to come out. I'll probably just put bush beans or something in there. Something that'll come up quick and give some shade to the lettuce. So I'm also going to put in a pipe. Instead of doing a drip line, I'm going to try to put a little pipe that's running, a little irrigation pipe, 1/2 inch. Hook it to solar perhaps, or just regular hose. But anyway, it's just going to run down the middle of the row here because we kind of have a slight valley. And then I'm going to put a little bit of dirt every so often to kind of hold the water up the hill. So I'm hoping to water all these beds with just throwing a hose on the ground basically. And as the water moves its way down here, these will just kind of fill up, overflow, fill up, overflow, fill up, overflow, and I'll just leave that hose until I see that all the way down here water's coming out. You see that it will have more moisture. Then I could just move the hose over to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. It's like every day I'll just water it, but it's a deep water, so it'll last a week or two. And I wanted to tell you something else about my spacing. This was kind of accidental, the way it just worked out, because we had a bunch of different people doing it and it wasn't exactly perfect. But I'm going to go with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a tight spacing on one, and then here where this kale is, I'm going to redo this. We'll have a nice wide aisle, and then we'll have two more closely spaced. The point would be is that this 7-foot shade cloth can fit right between the two ridge beams. And I can just put it on there and then take it right back off. This is a 50-foot shade cloth. I'm also changing my beds to 50 feet to make them all the same size. Again, this was kind of just haphazardly put together. But interestingly, if you use 5 10-foot sections of that 1/2-inch conduit, there's your 50 feet. So I'm just going to make that my standard size for all this, and then I can have a number of shade cloths. So I'll just build one, order another shade cloth, put it on, so on and so forth. I'm in the middle of a drought, and I really doubt I'm really not wanting to plant things in the middle of not having rain. But I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. And I'm going to start irrigating this. We've been in a drought for 2 months. This garden has not been watered. All it gets is rain. So I know that we're holding enough moisture under there to grow some stuff. It's not flourishing. It's looking kind of sad, really, but we're doing okay. I'll tell you what is flourishing is that borage, man. That stuff doesn't care about drought because it gets down there, it gets the water. So anyway, it's probably going long. I just wanted to update you on that as well. When I remember what else I wanted to talk about, I will get back with you. I don't have to finish all these arches right away, so I'm going to work on them a little at a time. I'll wait till it gets a little hotter because it's not really that hard to work. It's just kind of finicky, so it's light duty work. So I'll do that like early afternoon type things because a little sun's fine. But I'm not doing super strenuous work. Actually, when I'm out here weeding and pulling up large amounts of material and stuff, I like to do that early before it gets too buggy when it's still too cool and it's not real hot. So anyway, I will let you go for now. This is Wiggle Out.